There's an invisible test happening around you every single day, and most people have no idea it's even happening. It begins the moment someone talks over you, makes you the punchline of a joke, or treats your time like it matters less than theirs. They're not just being rude, they're checking something. They're silently asking themselves, should I respect this person, or can I push a little further? And the truth is simple. The way you react in those first few seconds decides how they will treat you moving forward. Stoics understood this long before modern psychology defined it. They never begged for respect. They didn't argue for it. They carried it through their presence, their calm, and their boundaries, so clear they never had to raise their voice. Today, I'll show you 6 moves that quietly shift any interaction in your favor. Simple, steady, powerful. Because respect doesn't shout, but when you embody it, everyone feels it. First tip, the first impression. People decide how to treat you in the first few seconds, before you talk, before you explain, before you prove anything. That's why first impressions aren't small details. They form the foundation of respect. Most people have no idea how much they communicate without speaking a word. A room reads your posture, your pace, your eyes, your tone. Long before you say anything, they've already answered one quiet question. Is this someone I should respect, or someone I can brush off? Your presence always speaks louder than your voice. We live in a world where confidence is often confused with loudness, but real confidence, the type the Stoics lived by, is quiet, grounded, and unmistakably strong. It's the kind of presence where people sense your steadiness before they even know your name, and that presence starts with posture. When you walk into a space with slouched shoulders or rushed steps, you unintentionally signal that you're trying to shrink. People don't consciously judge it, but they feel it. Their mind labels you as someone easy to overlook, and suddenly the entire energy shifts. People treat you at the level you treat yourself. Stoics didn't need weapons or booming voices to earn respect. Their posture aligned with their inner belief. They were in control of themselves, and that alone was enough. Shoulders relaxed, spine tall, breath steady. They weren't trying to impress anyone. They were simply grounded, and grounded presence, especially in America's fast-moving, high-pressure social settings, stands out instantly. When you move with intention instead of urgency, you show people you're not reacting to the room. You're entering it with your identity already set. That subtle difference changes how people speak to you, how they listen to you, and how they measure your value. Your eyes tell the truth before your words do. The Stoic approach to eye contact is simple, steady, brief, calm. Not staring, not avoiding, just anchored acknowledgement. When someone looks at you and you meet their eyes for a single calm moment, you communicate, I'm here, I'm centered, I'm not afraid of this moment. In American culture, this is one of the strongest signals of presence. People don't respect those who look away too fast or stare too long. They respect the ones who can hold a moment without dissolving under it. Your voice also shapes how people value your words. Most people speak faster than they think, faster than they breathe, faster than they feel. That speed signals uncertainty, and uncertainty invites interruption. A Stoic slows their pace, softens their pitch, and lets silence do half the talking. In a world drowning in noise, slowness feels like authority. When you speak just a little slower than your instincts, you instantly gain more attention. When your tone drops slightly, you communicate calm control. And when your sentences become intentional instead of rushed, people lean in. Respect isn't earned through loudness, it's earned through control. You don't need to act dominant or intimidating. You don't need to puff your chest or force confidence. You only need to show you command yourself, your body, your breath, your voice, your presence. People feel that, they adjust to it. Your presence becomes your boundary, your protection, your introduction. Here's a simple Stoic ritual for every time you enter a room. Take one deep but quiet breath. Align your posture. Let your eyes calmly scan the room. Meet the first pair of eyes for one grounded beat, and speak only when you choose to. Because the truth is simple. The moment you walk in is the moment respect begins. Second tip, when someone interrupts you. An interruption is not an accident. It's a measurement, a quick test of how firmly you stand in your own space. Most people don't see it this way. They assume interruptions are normal or just part of a conversation. But your body knows. The moment someone cuts you off, something inside you tightens. That tension is your mind whispering, a line was crossed. And when you ignore that whisper, you teach people to cross it again. Interruptions show how someone sees you and how you see yourself. When someone talks over you, they're not attacking your idea. They're stepping into your space. They're signaling, my voice matters more than yours right now. And if you respond by shrinking, rushing, or apologizing, you strengthen that dynamic. Respect doesn't disappear in a sudden moment. It fades quietly. Stoics don't respond by getting louder. They respond with presence. Instead of fighting to be heard, they reclaim their ground. They understand that the real power isn't in volume, it's in emotional stillness. So when someone interrupts you, the strongest response isn't force, it's silence. The moment it happens, you stop speaking. Not because you're defeated, but because you're aware. You let the silence reveal the imbalance. Suddenly, the interrupter becomes aware of themselves. The room feels the shift. Your silence carries more weight than your words did a second ago. You didn't confront them. You didn't correct them. You simply let the truth appear. Then comes the boundary. I'm still speaking. Let me finish that thought. Hold on, I wasn't done. Short, calm, neutral. These lines work because they don't invite arguments. They simply restore order. You're not asking permission, you're stating a fact. And when a fact is delivered calmly, people don't fight it. They adjust to it. Clarity commands more attention than volume ever will. In American culture, people respect those who hold their ground without losing composure. Loud reactions are common. Anger is predictable. But self-control stands out. It tells the room that you're someone who listens, someone who thinks, someone who doesn't crumble or rush to defend themselves. That grounded strength forces people to recalibrate. People don't pause for dominance, they pause for dignity. Interruptions become rare when people know you won't ignore them, not because you're intimidating, but because you're aware. Awareness is powerful. When you respect yourself, it changes the rhythm of how you speak, breathe, and occupy space. Here's the Stoic ritual for handling interruptions. Breathe once to reset your nervous system. Raise your eyes to meet theirs, not in confrontation, but in acknowledgement. Hold still for one calm second. Deliver your boundary line, then continue exactly where you left off. You don't restart, you resume. This communicates one message. I value my voice, and I expect you to value it too. And people do, because the truth is obvious. People interrupt those who rush. They listen to those who stand firm. When you handle interruptions with stoic steadiness, not anger, not insecurity, but grounded control, you don't just take back the conversation, you take back your place in the room. Third tip, jokes and humiliation. A joke meant to make you smaller isn't a joke. It's a message, a subtle test of how much disrespect you'll allow. People laugh it off because they don't want conflict. They smile, shrug, pretend it didn't hurt. But inside, a small part of them folds. A small part steps back. A small part whispers, maybe I deserved that. That's exactly how patterns of humiliation begin, not through big attacks, but through tiny cuts that go unanswered. Stoics don't fight humiliation with humor. They answer it with composure. When someone throws a playful insult, a disguised jab, or a joke meant to shrink you, they're not trying to be funny. They're checking your boundaries. They want to see if you'll trade dignity for acceptance or quietly tolerate disrespect to keep the peace. And most people do. They laugh, they shrink, they vanish inside the moment. But a Stoic does the opposite. The stone-faced response is your shield. When the joke hits, you go still. No smile, no nervous laugh, no reaction that rewards the disrespect. That stillness is powerful because it breaks the rhythm of the entire exchange. The room expects you to laugh. The joker expects you to play along. But when you don't, everything shifts. Suddenly, the joke has nowhere to land, and everyone sees it for what it actually is. Silence reveals the truth that disrespect tries to cover. Mocking comments only work when you cooperate with them. They depend on you shrinking so the other person can feel tall. But the moment you stop engaging, the joke falls apart. The attention shifts away from you and lands directly on the one who tried to belittle you. And suddenly, they become the uncomfortable one. If you choose to speak, your line stays simple. What did you mean by that? Nothing dismantles fake humor faster than straightforward clarity. Clarity forces intention into the open, and intention is where disrespect hides. Some people will retreat, some will apologize, others will stumble, trying to justify why they thought making fun of you was acceptable. But their reaction is not the focus. Your response is. Self-respect is felt long before it's spoken out loud. Stoic philosophy teaches that the person who controls their emotional center controls the moment. When someone attempts to embarrass you, what they really want is your reaction, your discomfort, your awkward laugh, your defense. All of their power disappears the second you remain steady. Here is the Stoic method for handling humiliation, crafted with the same precision as earlier principles. Breathe once. Ground yourself before the moment grabs you. Go still. Your stillness signals you are not entering their game. Look at them calmly. You're observing, not absorbing. Ask, what did you mean by that? Let them reveal themselves. Stay quiet. Allow the silence to correct the situation for you. Without raising your voice, you're sending one message. I don't trade my dignity for anyone's amusement. People adjust quickly. They stop targeting you. They stop using jokes as weapons. They stop pushing your limits, because humiliation only succeeds if the target participates. The moment you decline the role, the authority shifts back to you. When you hold your ground with stoic presence, calm, unshaken, self-respecting, you don't just silence the joke, you silence the whole pattern. 4. The fourth tip: answer a question with a question. Not every question deserves an answer. Some questions are traps. Some come loaded with judgment disguised as curiosity. People often ask things that aren't actual questions, but subtle attempts to put you on the defensive. Why would you do that? What were you thinking? Are you sure that's a good idea? These aren't attempts to understand you, they're attempts to elevate themselves over you. And the moment you begin defending or explaining, you step into the frame they set up. Stoics never step into a frame built by someone else. They rebuild it. When someone questions you with pressure or disrespect, your instinct is to clarify, to defend, to justify. But explanation doesn't equal strength. Explaining is surrender, because the person who asks becomes the judge of whether your answer satisfies them. Real authority belongs to the one who asks the clearer question. That's why the Stoic move is simple: return the question, not out of attitude but out of self-respect. What makes you ask that? What exactly do you mean? How do you see it? These lines appear gentle, but they carry immense strength. They pull the other person out of the judge's seat and force them to own their tone, assumptions, and motives. Most people aren't ready for that level of clarity. A returned question pushes them into honesty. When you ask them to examine their intentions, something shifts. Their confidence drops, their certainty breaks, their attitude softens. Because now they must confront the real reason they questioned you, and in most cases, that reason comes from unexamined emotions, insecurity, irritation, jealousy, or a desire to feel superior. Your question exposes the root. Here's the hidden advantage of this technique. You're not dodging the question, you're elevating the conversation. You're choosing not to respond from a defensive posture, but from awareness. That shift alone earns instant respect. Presence always defeats pressure. Especially in American workplace culture, questions are often used as shortcuts to dominance. It's easier to challenge someone else than reflect on oneself. But when you return the question with calm certainty, you send a message: I don't operate through emotional shortcuts, and people immediately adjust their tone. Here is the Stoic pattern that mirrors the emotional accuracy of earlier lessons. Breathe once, create a moment for yourself. Keep your expression steady, you're not rattled. Ask your clarifying questions slowly. You invite them to rise to your level. Wait silently. Let them sit in the space they opened. This is where the real shift happens, in the quiet, in the pause, in the realization that they no longer control the moment. Questions lose their power when you stop rushing to answer them. By returning the question, you enforce an unspoken rule. If you want clarity from me, speak with clarity yourself. And people learn quickly. Their questions become more respectful. Their tone becomes more measured. Their assumptions become less careless. Because ultimately, you are not responsible for managing someone else's confusion. You are responsible for protecting your own clarity. A question may be meant to challenge you, but a calm returned question reminds them of who they're dealing with, centered, steady, unfazed, and worthy of respect. 5. Fifth tip, walking away. Walking away isn't weakness. Walking away is clarity. Walking away is the moment you decide your dignity is worth more than their chaos. Most people stay in conversations long after respect is gone. They argue, defend, explain, hoping the other person will eventually understand. But the longer you stay, the more you teach others that they can spend disrespect without consequence. Stoics never remain where their peace is drained. They leave, calmly, firmly, without apology. Walking away is one of the strongest decisions you can make, not to punish someone, but to honor your limits. When you remove yourself from a disrespectful exchange, you remind yourself that your time and presence have value, and value must be protected. You dissolve the conflict by removing your participation. You cannot control someone's tone or maturity, but you can always control your location, and sometimes the strongest position is distance. When someone talks over you, mocks you, raises their voice, or pulls you into emotional quicksand, they're revealing one truth. They're not prepared for a respectful conversation. It is not your job to fix them. It is not your job to train them. It is not your job to pour endless patience into someone who chips away at your self-respect. Your job is to know when the moment no longer deserves you. Stoics embodied this silently: a steady breath, a slight shift, a calm exit. No door slamming, no dramatic exit, no attempt to win. They simply removed themselves from what no longer aligned with their character. Walking away is emotional protection, not defeat. Here's why it works. When you leave, you break the reward loop that fuels disrespect. People who rely on drama or dominance lose their advantage the instant you stop feeding the exchange with your attention. They only maintain control over what you stay to entertain. The moment you step away, they're left alone with their own actions. And often, that is the clearest reflection anyone can face. Silence reveals lessons that words never could. Here is the Stoic method for walking away with strength. Take a single breath. Anchor yourself before you move. Stand upright. Your posture communicates intention without hostility. Speak only if you must. Too many words weaken the power of your exit. Turn and walk at a calm, controlled pace. Not too fast. You're not running. Not too slow. You're not posturing. Just steady, collected movement. This is the truth most people misunderstand. Walking away doesn't damage respect. It creates it, because the instant you withdraw your presence, you're telling them, if you refuse to respect the space we share, I will protect my own. And people feel that. They feel the boundary. They feel the gap your energy once filled. They feel the loss of access they assumed they would always have. Respect often starts where unlimited access ends. Some individuals will reflect and come back improved. Some will react with anger because they lost control. And some will vanish completely, exposing the reality that they weren't in your life to contribute, only to drain. In every scenario, you win because your peace stays untouched. Walking away is not about them losing you. It's about you refusing to lose yourself. And when you learn to leave without resentment, without theatrics, and without fear, you don't just defend your dignity, you safeguard your entire life. 6. The sixth principle, the boundary sentence. A boundary isn't an argument. A boundary isn't a threat. A boundary is simply a standard spoken out loud. Most people avoid setting boundaries because they fear conflict. They worry about sounding rude or confrontational. But a boundary isn't hostility, it's clarity. And clarity earns far more respect than silent discomfort ever will. Because silence, when you feel uneasy, becomes permission. And the more you allow, the more is taken. Stoics never justify their boundaries. They state them once, calm, clear, certain. A boundary sentence is one of the purest expressions of self-respect. It isn't long, it isn't emotional, it isn't defensive. It's a quiet line that says, "This is where I end and you begin." And once spoken, it becomes the rule for how people treat you from that moment forward. Here is the sentence that changes everything. I'm not continuing this conversation in this tone. Simple, neutral, unmistakable. This one line shuts down manipulation. It stops aggression. It halts passive-aggressive jabs. It prevents people from pulling you into emotional corners you never agreed to enter. Because it does something powerful. It exposes the behavior without attacking the person, and it presents a choice: adjust or lose access. Boundaries aren't about controlling others. They're about preserving yourself. When someone mocks you, raises their voice, dismisses you, or twists the conversation, they're not participating, they're overpowering, and domination thrives in confusion. The boundary sentence cuts through that confusion instantly. It resets the dynamic or ends the exchange cleanly. Either way, you win. When you deliver the sentence, your tone matters more than the words. You don't raise your voice. You don't tense your expression. You don't justify. You speak as calmly as if you were saying, "The meeting starts at 10. Because calmness is power. A boundary is strongest when spoken softly. Here's what unfolds when you use the boundary sentence. The other person becomes aware of their tone. Many people don't realize they've escalated. The power balance shifts. You're no longer reacting. You're directing the moment. Your emotional space stays protected. The conversation can only continue respectfully. Drama loses its grip when you refuse to fuel it. That's why this sentence works so effectively, especially in American culture. People may debate your ideas, but they cannot debate your tone requirement. Tone is personal ground, and personal ground is non-negotiable. Self-respect can be sensed, and once felt, it can't be overlooked. Here is the Stoic ritual for setting a boundary. Take one breath, center yourself. Make brief eye contact, presence without pressure. Speak the sentence slowly and evenly. I'm not continuing this conversation in this tone. Stop talking. Let silence cement the boundary. If they adjust, continue. If they don't, you walk away. Your boundary is not an argument. Your boundary is a choice. And the moment you reinforce it, not with anger but with certainty, everything shifts. People rethink raising their voice. They reconsider sarcasm. They choose their words with intention because now they know exactly where the line is. People don't respect boundaries you never voice. People respect boundaries you express once and stand behind. A boundary sentence doesn't just protect the moment. It protects your peace, your energy, and your identity. And when spoken with stoic steadiness, it becomes more than a sentence. It becomes your armor. You've now learned 6 stoic ways to command respect, without shouting, without forcing dominance, and without becoming someone you're not. Presence, boundaries, clarity, silence, and self-control. These are the tools that shift how people treat you. And if you've noticed, they all come back to one truth. Respect begins with how you carry yourself long before the world responds. You don't need to memorize every technique. Just choose one to practice today. Maybe it's the pause when someone interrupts you. Maybe it's the steady expression when someone makes a disrespectful remark. Maybe it's the boundary sentence that instantly resets the tone. Whatever you choose, use it consistently. You'll notice the shift inside yourself first, and then in the way others engage with you. Thank you for spending this time with me, for choosing to elevate yourself, and for choosing to stand with greater strength in your own life. If this message spoke to you, comment the code, I command respect. And as always, take a breath, hold your ground, and I'll see you in the next video.